would now like to introduce you to Rakesh Govind, Green Forward CEO, a serial entrepreneur that has several companies and inventions with very innovative and far-reaching impacts. Rakesh?
Good morning. So I'm going to be talking about Green Forward Technologies, a company that operates in the area of water reuse. Water, as you know, is a declining resource. If you look at globally, the groundwater levels around the globe are declining, and they're declining at a very fast rate. The next crisis we're going to face is a water crisis, and I'm here to present a technology that allows the water to be reused so we don't end up wasting it and converting fresh water into salt water, which is what we do. Every time you flush, the water goes into the river, it ends up in the ocean, and then we keep waiting for the rain to come back, and it does not in the same amounts. So we are running out of water, we're running out of groundwater over time, and that's the problem that we are going to be talking about today. So essentially, if you look at the system, let me ask you a question. What do you think is common between an exclusive golf club here in Cincinnati and the Cincinnati Zoo? Now, this is a tough question. It's not like whether you have showered here today or not. It's a tough question. And the answer to that is that both of these organizations are using the NextGen Septic system, which is shown here on this slide. This is a system that goes behind your house. It looks like a septic tank. It has two compartments in which the water comes in from the house. We then have a second compartment in which we treat the water biologically. We have media and aeration that moves around, treats the water. And then we have a very specific membrane through which the water has to get through. So the water that comes out of the system is clear, treated water. And this water then can be reused, either for irrigation or it can be piped back into the house and used for the flushing system here. So it can save almost 40% of our total consumption of water for a house. And in places like California, this is a major gain in terms of water reuse. This company was founded in April of 2011. We have these systems installed at some homes here. We'll be installing them at the golf club. And also, we have a system that will be going into Cincinnati Zoo. Now, 30 million houses in the US have a septic tank. And most of these are in the South, about 46%, but then they are distributed evenly in the Midwest, Northeast, and the western part of the United States. So we have a large number of these septic tanks that are operating right now, and we have a number of these that are being sold every year as new housing gets installed and so forth. The major problem we have in this case is that most of these tanks have actually failed, the ones that have been in operation for some time. And the reason they have failed is not because the tank has failed. The septic tank is usually, can work for about 50, 100, 60 years without any problem. But it is the soil field in which the water has to be disposed of. That's the field that has got clogged up over time. And so in this photograph, you see a puddle of water at the back of the house, typically, and that indicates that your leach field has failed. And essentially, now the water is bubbling up instead of going down. And this is basically dirty water that is causing bacteria to develop. Some of the homes in the failed tanks actually smell a lot. They have pets running into this thing. They have children running into these puddles of water behind the house, and they bring the bacteria back into the house. So it's a major health hazard that is existing behind your house that basically causes huge number of issues, besides the smell and so forth that you might have in this case. So the problem is, what can we do about these failed septic tanks, and how can we develop a better technology that doesn't have these disadvantages that I mentioned to you here? In the US right now, the number of septic tanks that have failed is about 2 million. So we have, out of 30 million tanks out there, we have almost 2 million tanks that have actually failed, and many of them will continue to get failed over time. And there are about 17,000 of these tanks that are being installed every year as well. So there is a fair amount of growth over time that is occurring every year, as well as the number of systems that are not working right now. So this is not only a problem that is global in the US and other countries, it's also a local problem. So if you look in the state of Kentucky, which is across the river, we have about 17,000 tanks that are being installed, and about 5,000 of these have actually failed. And these are the numbers that we know about. There are many systems that people don't even know about that they've actually failed behind the house, and that's a big issue in this case. We also have the reverse problem in Ohio. Ohio has a large number of tanks that have actually failed. About 300,000 tanks have failed, and we only install about 12,000 of these in Ohio. So every state has a different kind of problem in this case. Our solution is the NextGen system. This is a tank that looks like a septic tank. It goes behind the house. It has everything installed inside it. It gets piped in like a septic tank, except that now it requires 110 power. And basically, it's a 1530-gallon tank. We sell it for about $9,000, and it is a system that does not require a leach field. So the water can be basically put into irrigation behind the house for your lawn, for your garden, and so forth. Now, if you have a failed septic system, then we are introducing the NextGen retrofit technology, which can be retrofitted into a tank in which the leach field has actually failed, the puddle of water that I was talking about before. So in this case, now this technology goes inside the tank, inside the tank that is good, and now it puts out clean water so that basically you don't have to work with the failed field now anymore. And if you have a failed field and you put clean water into it, it begins to open up over time. So basically, we have these two systems, the NextGen system and the technology for retrofits that we are introducing in the marketplace to address this issue about the 2 million tanks that have failed and about the number of septic tanks that are being installed that will also eventually fail over time. Our market opportunity is very large. If you look at the number of units that are being sold in the US, we have about, as I mentioned, 2 million tanks that have failed, about 727 being installed in the nation in 2014. And if you look at even a 1% market penetration, that means we basically only sell 1% into this national market of 2 million tanks that have failed and 727,000 that are being installed. In this case, we have essentially a market that's about almost $25 billion. So basically, if we have 1% penetration, we can have a gross income of about $80 million over the next 5 years. Our Kentucky opportunity is not as big, but it is substantial. In this case, of course, the number of tanks that have failed can be retrofitted in this case, and we can make a fair amount of money. The team we have got is an excellent team. I have 30 years of experience in wastewater treatment. I've published papers that will put you to sleep in wastewater treatment. Rob Foster is a person with 30 years experience in manufacturing. Dennis Nafis, who is here at the Green Forward table. We have a booth over there. And we have a board, Dennis Reinersman, and we have Len Eisenstein as part of our board members right now. So we have an excellent team with over 90 years of experience in the wastewater business. In summary, NextGen system is technology advanced, decentralized system. We are projecting sales of these systems. In Kentucky alone, we can generate a fair amount of profit in that state, and we're looking for a growth of more than 12%. And right now, we are seeking investor funding for this company. Thank you very much.